Hello, welcome back to 1964 Payoff Pitch Baseball. Today we have the Cleveland Indians in town to play the Baltimore Orioles at Memorial Stadium. The Indians are in town for what ended up being a 3-game series. We had a game yesterday, which was Saturday, which the Orioles were able to win 9-2. Norm Seaburn hit a grand slam home run in the 9-2 victory. And then today, which is Sunday, May the 3rd, we have a double header against the Indians. And then Washington is in town for 2. And then we head out on a road trip starting in Cleveland on the 6th. So we've won 2 in a row, the Orioles have. The Indians are on a current 4-game losing streak. So we are currently in 8th place at 5-7, 4.5 games behind Minnesota, who leads the American League at 11-4. So let's get to the stadium.
Replay Radio is live from Baltimore.
So here we are at beautiful Baltimore Memorial Stadium. And as usual, I'm using Replay Baseball to accumulate my stats and to give me some on-screen ambiance to go with my cards and dice. So we will go to the desktop. And here we are. So leading off for the Indians will be Dick Hauser, who I believe ended up being a manager at one point. 21-year-old Dave McNally gets the start for the Orioles. He is 1-1 with a 2.81 ERA so far this year. So Dick Hauser, he is hitting .316. He has a home run and 2 RBIs. He had 2 base hits in yesterday's loss. So here McNally is looking in for the sign from Orsino. Here's the pitch, and we get an in-play 30 versus a left-hander, and that's going to be a pop out to on the infield to Aparicio, and he will call for it and put it away for the first out of the inning. Vic Davalillo playing center field today for the Indians. He had 2 hits in yesterday's ball game as well. He's hitting .195 for the season with 3 RBIs. Lefty versus lefty here. And that's a tough 52 versus a lefty, and that is just out of the strikeout range. And he is going to hit an opposite field shot to left field. Powell heads to the alley to pick it off, and Davalillo will scoot into second with a double. And that will be his first double of the 1964 season. Davalillo. Again, I might be not pronouncing his name correctly. So he is a 5C, and so we would need doubles under 5 in order to try to steal third, which we do not have. And that brings up Leon Wagner, who is, again, in this 1964 replay, it's a time in baseball history that I know the big names, but not a lot of the other names. And so Leon Wagner is a new player that I wasn't familiar with. He had a pretty good season in 1964. He ended up hitting 31 home runs. He had 14 RBIs. So I haven't looked up his lifetime stats, but he had a pretty decent year. So far in the replay, he's hitting .250 with 1 home run and 5 RBIs. He'll see if he can knock in Davalillo at second. And that's a defensive check. And that's going to be an error rating on Adair at second base. Adair is a 5, so here at Memorial Stadium, 1-21 will be an error. And that will be a 99, so that's going to be an out on the infield, and that's a ground ball runner advance. So Adair will field it cleanly and throw on to Seaburn, and Davalillo will make it to third, and there are 2 away here in the top of the first. That brings up Al Smith, right fielder. He is 0 for 8 in limited play so far. He hit 176 and 187 at-bats in the real season. And that's an in-play 37, no wild pitch, and versus a lefty. That's going to be a ground ball to Seaborn at first, and he will take it to the bag himself to retire the side. So the Indians get one hit, and they leave one on. And we go to the bottom of the first. No score. Pitching for the Indians today is going to be Mudcat Grant, who we just lost earlier in the year. Lost a lot of good ball players the last couple years, it seems. So far in the replay, he is 1-1 with a 5.18 ERA. He started the season with Cleveland, got off to a pretty bad start, and then was traded to Minnesota Twins, where he had a much better year. In replay or in payoff pitch, they give you every player who played, plus they give you the traded players. They give you individual team plus the combined card, and I always use the combined card. The reason I do that, and again, you can make good arguments for either, is that in any given season, a player has ups and downs, and so all of the other players are carded for their whole performance for the year. And even though he's playing on different teams, he's still playing against major leaguers. So I feel like that it's fair to use his whole season in order to represent him playing. So, and again, even with the way the dice rolls, I mean, he could end up doing like that. But that's how I play it. And again, you can make arguments for either way. So anyway, Luis Aparicio, shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles, will lead off. He's off to a pretty good year at 318. He does have a home run and 8 RBIs, and that's going to be a tough 87. And that's going to be a ground ball to Hauser at short. And he will scoop it up, throw across the infield for the first out of the bottom of the first. Norm Seaborn, who hit a grand slam in yesterday's 9-2 victory, will step to the plate. And that was versus a left-handed pitcher, so quite a good piece of hitting there by Seaborn. So here's the pitch from Grant, and that's going to be an in-play, a rare play. So it's a 6 rare play with nobody on. Batter hits a ground ball to short, pulls up lame, trying to beat a throw to first base, check for injury. So I'm doing as-played lineup, so I'm not using injuries. And on this particular rare play, it doesn't say, as far as I can tell, whether he made it or not. So I use a decider die. So was he safe? Yes. So he beat out the infield single. So that will put Norm Seaborn on first base. And again, not doing the injuries because I'm doing the as-played lineups. Unless it's if it says he was knocked out for the game, I will take him out for the game. So anyway, Norm Seaborn is a 3F Steeler, and we got a 6, so he's not going anywhere. So Brooks Robinson will step to the plate. Robinson was the MVP of the 1964 American League, and he is hitting .319 with a home run and 5 RBIs so far. The Indians are at double play depth. And we get a patient 72, and that's going to be a ground ball to Held at second base, Woody Held, and we got a 12, so that's going to be a slow roller. And all Held is able to do is to barely throw out Robinson at first, and Seaborn will make it to second, and there is 2 out, and runner on second base for Boog Powell. So far, Hank Bauer, who is the Oriole manager, has been platooning Boog Powell, 23-year-old left fielder, ends up being a first baseman. So he is hitting .278. He has 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. They could intentionally walk him for Bowens, who would be righty on righty. Yeah, that probably would be the smart thing to do, as much as I hate to do it. So they're going to give Boog Powell a free pass. And that will put runners on first and second for Sam Bowens. He is hitting .320, no home runs and 4 RBIs. So they've been platooning him as well mostly. So this will be one of his rare starts against a right-handed pitcher. So, and he does much better against lefties. So we'll see if the strategy pays off for George Strickland and the Cleveland Indians. So that's a in-play 55. And that's going to be a ground ball to Alvis at third. And he'll go to Held at second base to get the force out. And that will retire the Orioles. So 5-4. Powell Boog is out. And he is out on a fielder's choice. And so no runs on a hit, no errors. And they left 2 on after 1 complete. No score. Dave McNally, who has quite a few good Orioles seasons ahead of him, will face off against Joe Askew, Cleveland catcher, who is 0 for 3 so far with 1 strikeout. He hit .273 and 271 at-bats in the real life year. That's a patient 0-6, and against a lefty, he's going to draw a walk. So the Indians get their first runner on here in the second. Askew is a 3F, so he is not going to attempt anything. Woody Held, second baseman, is hitting .121, a home run, 7 RBIs. He had 18 home runs in real life with only a .236 average. So he is an F bunter, had no sacrifice hits, so he's not going to try to do any of that. The Orioles will be at double play depth. And here is the pitch from McNally. And he throws an in-play 93, and that's going to be a fly ball hit out to left field. Boog Powell will camp under it and put it away for the first out of the inning. Max Alvis, third baseman. Hitting .333 so far, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, so he's off to a pretty good start. Orioles rather, still at double play depth. And that's a tough 14, and he will go down looking. So McNally paints the outside corner with a slider, and that will leave the Indians with 1 out left. Tito Francona. He's hitting .207, 2 home runs, 5 RBI so far in the replay. And here's the pitch from McNally, lefty versus lefty. And that's a patient 59, and that's going to be a hit by pitch. So Francona gets plunked by McNally. Would have liked to have gotten him out to have the pitcher leading off the third. That would be, let's see, that's the 3rd time Francona has been hit by a pitch. And he had a pretty wide range there. Against lefties, it's 46 to 65. So he gets beamed quite a bit with left-handed pitching, it would appear. That's his 3rd of the season. So that brings up Mudcat Grant. So he will see what he can do. He's actually a pretty good hitter. He had 195, but he had 2 home runs. So he is a 10 pitcher hitting card, for those of you who understand that. So that would be a tough 0-6, and he will go down looking. So McNally gets out of the jam by striking out the opposing pitcher. And that will do it for the Indians in the second. So no runs. There were no hits, but they did leave 2 runners on. And we'll go to the Oriole half of the second inning still with no score. So Mudcat Grant will begin with John Orsino, who I believe has caught every game so far this year. I don't remember. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure he's caught every game. 167. He has 7 for 42, so not doing that great offensively. So that's a 9. That's a tough 08, and he will go down swinging. So not able to catch up with the Mudcat fastball as Grant blows it by him for the first out. Jackie Brandt hitting 178, 1 home run, 5 RBIs. Historically, he's has better years than this, but this is not one of his better ones. And that's a tough 14, and he will go down swinging. So Mudcat Grant throwing smoke. And that will be 2 away for Jerry Adair, second baseman. He's hitting 256 with a home run and 2 RBIs. See if he can get on base to at least get the pitcher through the rotation. That's a defensive check, and we will be checking the range of Hauser at short, who is a D. So here at Memorial, that will be 1-54 will be a hit. And we get a 42, so it is a hit for the shortstop, and that's going to be an infield single. So Hauser's not able to get it to first in time, and that will give Adair his first hit of the afternoon. Again, this is the first game of a doubleheader here in beautiful Baltimore, Maryland. So Dave McNally, who is a 5, he hit 137 in real life, will step to the plate to see if he can keep the 2-out rally going. And that's a wheelhouse 40, and he is going to get a good pitch, but he's going to bounce it to Francona, who will take it himself to retire the side. So the Orioles get their second hit of the game, but leave him stranded. And we go to the third. No score. Dave McNally will face the Orioles here the second time through the lineup. Leading off with Dick Hauser, who popped out to Aparicio to lead off the game. And here's the pitch for McNally, and that's a tough 91. And that's going to be a ground ball to Aparicio, so Aparicio will retire him for the second time today. And there's 1 away. Vic Davalillo, he doubled his first double of the year, but was left stranded there by his fellow Indians. Lefty versus lefty. And that's going to be a wheelhouse 39, so he gets a good pitch to hit. And he will hit a rocket back to the pitcher. McNally makes an awesome grab on that one and is able to underhand it to Sebring to get the out. So he hit it on the screws, but McNally was able to field his position, and there's now 2 out with nobody on for Leon Wagner. He grounded out to Jerry Adair back in the first inning. And we get a in-play 37 versus the lefty, and that's going to be another ground ball back to the pitcher. This one not hit nearly as intensively. And that will do it for the Indians in the third. So they go down in order for the first time today. Bottom of the third, still no score. And Mudcat Grant will begin his second trip through the Oriole lineup as Luis Aparicio takes his place in the right-handed batter's box. And here is the pitch from Mudcat. Aparicio grounded out to Hauser in his first at-bat. That will be a tough 07, and he will go down looking. So Grant got him with the changeup that time. It would appear Aparicio was expecting something else. That's the third strikeout today for Mudcat Grant. He had 118 strikeouts and 228 innings total for the year. Norm Sebring, he hit an infield single to Hauser, his first at bat at short. And that's an in-play 58. And that's going to be hit out to Wagner in left field, and he will take it easily for out number 2. Brooks Robinson, 0 for 1 with a ground out to Woody Held at second base. Still hitting .313 for the season, .382 on base percentage. He gets an in-play 50, and that's going to be a line out to Hauser, so he hits it hard. But Hauser is right there, and he puts it away to end the third for the Orioles. So they go down in order for the first time as well. So the pitchers are copycatting one another as we go to the top of the fourth. Still knotted at 0. Al Smith will begin the festivities here in the Indian fourth. He is 0 for 9 now after grounding out his first at bat. And we get a tough rare play. So that's a rare play 4. Hit by pitch, check for injury. And again, we're not doing injury, so he gets plunked. So that's the second batter that McNally has hit today. And the Cleveland bench is getting a little upset by all this plunkage. Let's see, that will be the first time Al Smith has been hit by a pitch this season. He is a 3F. We got a 4 there on our roll, so he will not be attempting any stolen base shenanigans. Joe Askew, he walked, got as far as second base in his first plate appearance. Still looking for his first hit and 3 at-bats. Double play depth for the Orioles, and that's a tough 16, and he will go down looking. So nice pitch by McNally there. Askew not able to pull the trigger, and that is out number 1. Woody Held. He flew out to Boog Powell in left field in his first effort of the day. Right-hander Held looking in from the delivery from McNally. Here's the pitch, and that's a tough 22. And Woody Held, he strikes out quite a bit, it would appear, and he goes down looking as well. Strikeout number 4 of the day for McNally, and all 4 of them have been looking, so he is obviously fooling the Indian offense. Max Alvis, he was a strikeout victim back in the second, looking to get a 2-out rally here to see if they can get Smith further than first base. And that's a tough 39, and he's not going to do it, so he goes down swinging. So 5th strikeout of the day for McNally, the first one swinging, and he ends up striking out the side after plunking Al Smith. So we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Still no score. Both pitchers pitching very well today. Mudcat Grant will face Boog Powell to lead off things here in the bottom of the 4th. Powell was intentionally walked by Indian manager George Strickland. He gets a tough 36, and he's going to go down swinging. So we got a strikeout duel here today, as that's number 4 for Mudcat Grant. First out of the inning for the Orioles, and Sam Bowens will step to the plate. Right-handed batter versus right-handed pitcher. Grant looks into Askew for the sign, and here it is. And that's a wheelhouse 49, and that's going to be a base hit. A long single into the gap in center field. Davalillo races over to cut it off before Bowens can get any further than first base, and that's where he will hold up. So Bowens able to hit that mistake, and he is a 4C, and we do have a 4. Askew is a 3, so that is going to be a C3, and as we can see here, that will give us a normal opportunity for stealing. And the normal is out. So Askew guns him down. Held applies the tag, and he is retired 2-4. So that'll be the second out of the inning. The Indians, or the Orioles rather, trying to generate some offense. Fail. John Orsino struck out swinging in his first at bat. And that's going to be an in-play 56. And so that's going to be a ground ball to Alvis at third base. He plants and throws, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit. Nobody left on. Top of the fifth. Nothing. Tito Francona. So it'll be 8, 9, and 1 for the Indians here in their half of the fifth inning. He was hit by a pitch. Lefty versus lefty. And that's going to be a tough 78. And that's going to be hit out to Branton center field. And he will get his first put out of the day. Out number 1. Mudcat Grant. Again, no slouch with the bat. He struck out in his first at bat, but he does have some pop. Right-hander Grant versus lefty McNally, and he gets a tough 0-5, and he will go down swinging this time. So McNally not having any trouble retiring Mudcat Grant today, as he has struck out for the second time in 2 at-bats. Dick Hauser's 0-2. Leadoff hitting shortstop for the Cleveland Indians. 28-year-old. And that's going to be an in-play 90. And that's hit out to Aparicio. And he is retired to finish the fifth inning for the Indians. So Hauser retired by his opposite number. And for the second time today, they go down in order. Bottom of the fifth. Still knotted at nothing. So we got 7, 8, 9 for the Indians, or for the Orioles rather. Jerry Adair, he was a strikeout victim in his first effort. And we get a patient 0-5, and he's going to draw a walk. So that'll be the second walk today, issued by Grant. Brand is a 3F, and looks like he got a lead. And because I'm managing the Indians, I keep calling the Orioles the Indians. Because I'm managing the Orioles, I can override that, which I think I'm going to. Jerry Adair will step up next. He had an infield single in his first at-bat. He's a good bunter, but we don't really want to bunt for the pitcher, so I'm going to let him hit. The Indians are looking for the double play. Adair has an 8 double play rating, as does Mudcat Grant. So I think I'm going to hit and run here. I'm going to try the hit and run. So that will be a ballpark 64. So that's going to be an in-play. So we just go with the in-play on a hit and run. So 1-27 is a hit, and he gets a 16. So that's going to be a opposite field liner to right field, and with Brant running, he will make it to third easily. So the hit and run works to perfection for the Orioles. Hank Bauer is on the bench congratulating himself on his managerial geniuses. So we got McNally, who is a C bunter. There's nobody out. I could try to bunt Adair to second. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. We're going to hold Brand at third, so this isn't a suicide. They do have Francona in at first, so if it's hit to first, he will drop to a D. It is hit to first, and it is dropped to a B, and it's a double play. So how about that? Oh man, that's bad. So let's see, on a double play, Yeah, we'll just, let's see. We was holding Bran up at third, so that wasn't suicide. So a double play is supposed to be with runner on first base, lead runner and batter out. If no runner on first, the runners hold. So I think typically they're thinking that there's not a runner on third. So what we're going to say is that they went for the double play and got it, and Brand scored. So they gave up the double play or gave up the run rather to get the double play. So that's going to be a ground out. 3 to 6 to 3. Runner on third scores. He's out. So I think that, and that was a bunt. So I think that is, so bunt, ground out, double play, 3-6-3. Brant scores, and I believe that is what we want. So hopefully I played that correctly. I think I did. That made sense to me at least. So Adair is out 3 to 6 for the first out. 3-6-3 double play on a bunt for the second out. So that didn't exactly work as planned, but at least we got a run out of it. And so Aparicio will come to bat with nobody on and 2 outs, and Baltimore on the board. So here's Mudcat Grant focusing his attention on the Orioles shortstop. That's a tough 98, and that's going to be a fly ball out to Wagner. Little blooper, and he puts it away easily for the third out of the inning. So they get 1 run on 1 base hit. There were no errors and nobody left on. So we go to the top of the 6th. Baltimore up 1-0. So McNally will see if he can hold on to this 1-run lead, as he will begin things with Davalillo, who doubled and bounced out, hit a rocket back to McNally that he was able to stab and throw him out easily. And that will be a patient 49, and that's going to be on the lefty just out of the range, and that will be a ground ball to Brooks Robinson. And he will throw across the infield for the first out of the inning. Leon Wagner is 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Once to Adair at second, once to McNally. Here is the pitch. That's a in-play 15, and that's going to be a ball blooped into right field, so he was able to place it in between the right fielder and second baseman to get his first hit of the day. That's the second hit for the Indians. He is a 4B Steeler. We got an 8, so he will be hanging tight. The Orioles at double play depth, of course. Al Smith has grounded out to first and was hit by a pitch. Right-hander Al Smith versus the lefty McNally. That's a patient 06, and he's going to walk another one. So that's the second walk of the day. And McNally is not doing a good job of trying to hold on to that 1-run lead at this point. Let's see, so Wagner can try to steal third if he had doubles under 4, but he doesn't, so he will stay there. And Joe Askew, who has the first walk issued by McNally and struck out, we'll see if he can get the Indians in business. So here we are. Orioles at double play depth. McNally looks into Orsino for the sign. And we get a in-play 94. And so that's going to be hit harmlessly out to Powell in left field, and he will put it away for out number 2. Wagner will scoot back to second base. So 2 away. It's up to Woody Held, who is flied out and struck out. So he's hitting 114 for the year. And again, he did have 18 home runs and only 364 at bat. So he's definitely got some pop in his bat. And that's a tough 75 versus the lefty. And that's going to be a fly ball hit out to Brant. He takes a few steps toward Powell. calls for it, and puts it away. So Dave McNally does a good job of getting out of that little bit of trouble. No runs, a hit, no errors, 2 runners left on. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and the Orioles are still up by 1. Mudcat Grant has an 8 fatigue rating. He finished 11 games out of 32 started. So Norm Seaburn, we got 2, 3, and 4 due up for Baltimore. Seaburn has an infield single and a fly out to Wagner in left. That's a wheelhouse 24 versus a righty, and that is gone. So that's a line drive deep into the right center field alley. Davalillo and Al Smith go back, and they watch it go over the fence, and it is 2-0 Orioles. So Norm Seaburn has his second home run in 2 days, and that gives him 2 for the year. He had the grand slam yesterday. Today he gets a solo shot. Nice job of hitting there. He got his pitch to hit, and he hit it. So that will be Seaburn's second home run of the replay. So that 2-0 Orioles. Brooks Robinson, we'll see if he can follow suit. He's 0 for 2 today. He did hit the ball hard his last at bat to Hauser at short. That's an in-play 10 versus the right-hander, and that will be a line drive, or an opposite field liner. So he hits it in between Held and Francona, and Al Smith fields it, throws it back in. So that's the 6th hit today for the Orioles. Brooks Robinson is a 2B. We got a 6, so he will be holding tight. Still nobody out. Boog Powell is a C bunter, but we're not going to do that with our best hitter at the plate. Indians looking for the double play. Left-hander Powell versus the right-handed Grant. And he gets an in-play 69. And versus a right-hander, that's going to be a ground ball to short. He has a 6 double play rating. He has an 8, rolled a 6. So that's going to be a 6-4-3. So Hauser fields it, hands it off to Held, who makes a nice pivot, throws on to Francona, and the Indians get an important double play. So 6-4 for out number 1, 6-4-3 double play for out number 2. Let's see how many double plays Powell has hit into so far this year. That would be his second. Not the quickest runner ever, so I imagine he'll probably hit into a couple more. So big double play for the Indians. So Bowens will step up now with nobody on and 2 out. He has singled and was caught stealing. His first caught stealing of the year. And that's a patient 57. And that's going to be hit out to Al Smith in right field. Hit pretty hard, but he is able to track it down for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Orioles do get another run. They get 1 run. Oh, my pen's running out of ink. Luckily, I have lots of them nearby. So they get 1 run on 2 base hits. There was no errors, and they left nobody on. We go to the top of the 7th inning. Orioles 2, Indians nothing. So Dave McNally has 7, 8, and 9 due up here in the 7th. Max Alvis has struck out twice so far, so he's having a hard time figuring out McNally today. See if the 3rd time's a charm. That's an in-play 95. And so he hits it this time, but it'll be out to Powell, and he puts it away for the 1st out of the 7th. Tito Francona was hit by a pitch and flew out to center field so far today. Even though he's hitting only 200, he does have a .429 on base percentage, so getting on base for the Indians. That's a tough 45 versus a lefty, and he is going to go down looking. Strikeout number 7 today for McNally. Most of them looking, so he's He is confounding the Indian hitters. Mudcat Grant got a 2-run lead. He's only pitched 6 innings, and he can hit, so we're going to let him go ahead. George Strickland's going to let him go ahead and hit, see what he's able to do. So far, he's struck out twice. 7, and he 55, 58, and he strikes out again, this time looking. So, they go down in order once again. So McNally's pitching a great game today. 7th inning stretch time. 2-0 Baltimore Orioles. John Orsino will begin the bottom of the 7th. He's 0 for 2 today. Again, just hitting 159 for the year. He hit 222 in real life. He gets a patient, but that's going to be a 98, so he got a decent pitch there, but all he can do is hit it out to Wagner in left field. Hit it hard, but right at him. First out of the 7th. Jackie Brandt. He has walked and scored, struck out. Baltimore center fielder. And he gets a ballpark 34, and that's going to be a wheelhouse for him. And so he's got a little bit of pop against righties, 1-33. It's a home run. But he gets a 47, so he will get a single out of it. A sharp liner that drops in front of the left fielder, so he gets a good pitch and hits it hard. One hopper to Wagner in left field. He will toss it back into the infield. Brandt's a 3F, so there will be no stolen base effort. With 1 out, runner on first, Jerry Adair. He is 2 for 2 today to get his average up to 289. He has a 347 on base percentage. Let's see. We did a hit and run. Wouldn't be a bad idea to try that again, but I'm going to let him hit away. He is a double play candidate with an 8 rating. So that's a 6, which is an in-play 97. So he hits it in the air out to Wagner and left. And he makes a few steps toward the foul line. And we'll put it away for out number 2. Dave McNally. He is 0 for 2. He hit into a double play his last at bat, trying to bunt. That did drive in the only run of the first run rather of the game for the Orioles. He gets a 9. That's a tough 26, and he goes down swinging. So that's the 5th strikeout for Mudcat. And we go to the top of the 8th. Orioles still up 2-0. Good old-fashioned pitcher's duel so far here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Baltimore. McNally will be facing the top of the Cleveland order. So he will be facing everybody for the 4th time. So far, Hauser is 0 for 3. And here is the pitch. And he gets an in-play 94. And so that's going to be hit out to Boog Powell. And he will catch it for the first out of the 8th. Vic Davalillo is 1 for 3 with a double. Lefty on lefty here. Davalillo is better against righties, but he did face lefties quite a bit this season. That's an in-play 97, and that will be hit out to right field this time. Bowens calls for it, and he will put it away rather, for out number 2. So 2 away, nobody on for Leon Wagner. He is 1 for 3. Lefty versus lefty as well. And that's an in-play 69. And so that's going to be hit on the ground to Aparicio. He scoops it up and will fire on to Seaburn to retire the side. So the Indians go down in order for the 1, 2, 3, 4th time today. So bottom of the 8th, 2-0, Baltimore. So Mudcat Grant is an 8 fatigue rating, so he's only given up 2 runs, so he is still unfatigued. So George Strickland will send him out to see what he can do here in the bottom of the 8th. He will be facing the top of the Oriole lineup, Luis Aparicio, who's 0 for 3. See if he can get his first hit of the afternoon. And he gets a ballpark 94. That's going to be an in play. 1 to 26 will be a hit for him, and he does not do it. So he grounds to his opposite number. Hauser will throw him out. First out of the 8th. Norm Seaburn has had a good day. He's had an infield single and a solo home run. He has 6 RBIs for the year, still hitting 170. But see if he can turn that around. And he gets a defensive check, and that will be an error on the third baseman. Alvis is a 3. So here at Baltimore, 1 to 37 is going to be an error. And he's able to make the play, so that's an out on the infield. That's a ground ball. So Alvis fields it cleanly, does a good job there, and throws it on to first for out number 2. Brooks Robinson, 1 for 3. He singled his last at bat and was erased on a Boog Powell double play. Boog Powell was on deck. And I threw the dice behind the tower, and I keep dropping them everywhere. So we get a 6. That's an in play 82, and that's going to be a ground ball to Hauser, and he will get his second assist of the inning. And so we will go to the top of the 9th. Dave McNally throwing a 2-hit shutout. So here we go. McNally seeing if he can close the deal. He's got 4, 5, and 6 due up here in the top of the 9th. Al Smith, who has been hit by a pitch and walked, will start things off. Right-hander versus the lefty McNally. And that's a tough 20, and that's going to be a strikeout swinging. So strikeout number 9 for McNally today. Out number 1. Joe Askew, 0 for 2 with a walk. Looking in for the sign is McNally, and he gets an in-play 56, and that's going to be a ground ball to Brooks Robinson. And he will make the play with no problem. And the Indians are down to their last out. Woody Held is their last hope. He is 0 for 3 today, hitting 111 for the year. So he would like to get something going here for himself and his teammates. He gets an in-play 97. Fly ball out to Powell, and he will catch it, and that is the game. So how about that? Great pitching duel here between Mudcat Grant and McNally. McNally betters him, so let's get to the replay screen so we can see the results. So McNally gets the win to go 2-1. Mudcat Grant gets the loss to drop to 1-2. The MVP of the game is Dave McNally, of course. Can't argue with that. The Orioles have won their 3rd game in a row. So after a little bit of a slow start, they're gaining some ground. So they are now 6-7. The Indians are 3-8. So they are continuing their struggles. They have now lost 5 in a row. So at one point they were 3-3. So let's look at McNally's line score here, which was pretty impressive. We had 9 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. So his ERA drops to 1.80 for the year. Mudcat Grant pitched a good game. 8 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He gave up 1 home run to Norm Seaburn. So overall, that was a very good game. I like all kinds of outcomes, but I prefer a good pitcher's duel myself. So I enjoyed that very much. So I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.